Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, and we're here to present you our NBA picks for Wednesday, October 17th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. And if you haven't already, go check out our new website at www.dfscheatsheet.com. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, everything that you need. So go make sure and check out the website at dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, how you doing out there, Jeremy?
What's up, man? Love NBA, dude. Only a two-game slate. Super exciting slate today. I know a lot of people were down on it because it was only two games, but there was plenty of action. Oklahoma City with all that value kept it close through the fourth quarter. Got a lot of run out of a lot of guys. Ben Simmons filled up the stat sheet looking like Ben Simmons last year. I like the slate tonight, man. Two-game slate leading us right into tomorrow with a full 10-game slate.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to get some NBA action in, and you actually see the Paul Georges and the Kevin Durant's play big time minutes. That's what we want to see. That's what exciting. So yeah, it was a fun slate. It was definitely really, really good to stack up that later game. Besides, like a Ben Simmons, there was a couple good plays in the first game, but for the most part, the second game is where you want to target. He did very well tonight in tournaments. Did my 150 max out entry with our optimizer, cashed in 85 of my 150 lineups. So 60% of my lineups cashed in tonight. Hey, what's stopping you guys from coming checking out our optimizer? Go get a 7 free day trial of it. Throw in some lineups in the quarter, just test it out. It's a lot of fun. It's very accurate. It's been killing MLB and NFL. So, hey, go check out the optimizer on the website. And hey, man, I'm ready to get into this slate. We got, like you said, a monster slate, the first big slate of the season. Today is going to be the day that's the first day of NBA. You know what I mean? Yesterday was like a teaser, small slate. Any other time, I'm not really going to play a two-game slate. It was just a fact. It was the first day. But yeah, let's get into it. So, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through the spots that we think that is the best spots for you guys to target tomorrow. Some of the key games, obviously in DFS. If you don't know, for NBA, you always want to target the teams who have the highest over under the points that are going to be scored. Those are the teams that you always want to target. It's going to be fast paced. It's going to be more points scored, more points, more fast paced. That equals more DFS fantasy points. So yeah, that's something you always want to do. If you didn't know that, is target those higher games with the highest implied total. And yeah, I mean, you got anything else before we get going, Jeremy?
Hey man, a couple of things. Somebody's on right now wanting to know why there was no lineups for the season opener tonight. There were, if you're a Luxury Box member, there definitely were lineups. If you are a Luxury Box member and you did not get them tonight, make sure you inbox us, go on the site, use the messenger, get in touch with us on Facebook. Lineups dropped tonight for sure. Lineups went out. So if you're a Luxury Box member and didn't get it, we need to resolve that issue. But there were lineups for tonight. If you're not a Luxury Box member and you're looking for lineups, that's why you didn't get lineups. Lineups are for the cash game lineup is a part of a Luxury Box membership. We do have a discount code that we're still giving out for that. We can drop that on this video as well. $175 for the entire season. So make sure you do get in touch with us if you are a Luxury Box member and didn't receive a cash game lineup tonight from that package. And then, hey, the other thing too, bro, hey, just so everybody knows, we're not just an optimizer service. Like, we're dropping this video on you guys to give you guys some free information, help everybody out. But there is going to be a ton of information in the member area. Facebook page, like you mentioned, there is the optimizer, player pool, right? We're going to give you guys some picks as far as some of these games go, but our whole player pool and who we're playing and who you should load up in our optimizer if you're going to max out or just manually build 10 or 15 lineups, that player pool's in there. who our value plays are. We have all these different pieces of content for you to have a real solid picture and spend 15 or 20 minutes and not have to spend 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours like we do researching these slates day in and day out.
Yeah, and one more thing too is I want to actually, we can try to do this in the next couple of days. Is I'm trying to get a little like a ranking sheet up that we can do every day for our paying members. We can kind of rank our top 5 plays at each position, kind of make, like you said, a really good player pool for you guys. You can take your player pool, go plug it in the optimizer, run 150 lineups, have some fun in the quarter. I mean, what's $37 to make 2,500 like it was today? So hey, check it out, and yeah, let's go.
Hey,
so
real quick, Emilio, stay on the video, man, because if you are a Luxury Box member, I'm gonna go while Steph's talking right now and while we're doing this video, I'll go on the back end and make sure that your membership level is where it should be. And if you have not yet, make sure you go to our Facebook page. It's DFS Cheat Sheet on Facebook, and then there's a group, which is the NBA group. Make sure that you ask for access to that, and we'll add you to that as well, so you make sure you receive your lineups.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into this video. The first game that we'll start with, the game with the highest implied over and under on the slate, it's the New Orleans Pelicans going into going into Houston to face the Rockets. This game has a 228.5 implied total. The Rockets are favored by 7.5 in this game. So I definitely think that there's some really good spots on both sides of this for sure. So I mean, we'll start on the Rockets side of things. For me, I mean, you can always look at the obvious. James Harden, Chris Paul, Clint Capella did very good last year. I think that those guys are the obvious plays on the Rockets side. And then, another thing that's really intriguing for me, I was looking at right now, you got Eric Gordon and Carmelo. Those guys, even though they're coming off the bench, they're both gonna be really big part of this rotation. 5,700 price tag for both of those guys. If they're both gonna play, you got Gordon and they're both projected to play about 28 and 29 minutes, so they're going to play their minutes off the bench. 5,700 price tag. I do like both of those guys. And then who do you like on the New Orleans side of things?
Man, I love Anthony Davis in this game. I just love Anthony Davis in this game. You just look back, for me, I look back at last year. Anthony Davis averaged just about 54 fantasy points per game, Fanduel points per game against Houston. That's a little shy of value, obviously, for his $12,004 salary. But here's a couple of things that I really like about Anthony Davis. He's gone out of his way this year to say that he wants to be in the conversation for MVP. He wants to be in the conversation with Kevin Durant and LeBron James and Steph Curry as the top player in the game. And he understood that he's been labeled as soft, and he's gone off the floor with, knick-knack injuries. This dude, night in and night out when he plays, everybody's kind of on the same DFS wave, right? Like, man, I want to play him, but can I play him? Am I going to get a full game out of him? I love him in this game. I think he has something to prove this year.
Yeah. No.
All year long, there's going to be rumors about him going to the Lakers. I mean, is he going to go to the Lakers? This dude's got something to prove. So I love that. That's probably my one play that I love in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like Anthony Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis, he's been, the top fantasy producer pretty much the past, 3 or 4 years. With him, it's always about if he stays healthy or not. Like you said, I used to call him the glass man. I mean, he's got hurt on me about 3 or 4 times in the past couple years. I mean, that's just Anthony Davis for you. But if he's going to be out there, he's going to be a monster. This is going to be a really fast-paced game, up and down. I mean, who are they really going to put on Anthony Davis? I mean, is it going to be Carmelo? I mean, I'm sorry, is it going to be Capella? I think that, Capella's a good defender, don't get me wrong, but Anthony Davis is just he's in his own class. I like him in this spot. I like Drew Holiday as well. He's going to be their second leading scorer, just like it was last year. You could possibly look at Amir Chich, 6,600 fair price tag. He's a guy that when he gets hot, he can definitely put up some scoring numbers. the only other guy that you could possibly consider, but I don't even know if I'm going to be looking at him. It's going to be a Julius Randle, 7,300 to fair price tag if he's going to play around 30 minutes. But I kind of want to see the minutes first if he's going to be coming off the bench. You know what I mean?
That's exactly why I want to play Julius Randle in tournaments tomorrow, because I think there's so many people they're going to have the wait and see approach. And I think this guy, for one, here's a couple of things that we know, right? We know that power forwards against Houston have done very well. We know to avoid point guards against Chris Paul. So I'm not looking to play Elfrid Payton in this spot, even though I know it's an up and down game. The other thing, right, we had a rule last year. Don't take point guards against Drew Holiday. The dude's a very underrated defender. He's a very underrated defender. I look for Drew Holiday to be all over Chris Paul in this one. But Julius Randle's a guy I like. I like Julius Randle because he's coming off the bench. You start looking at that rotation for Houston. They don't have a Trevor Ariza anymore. You know, they don't have Mamba Moot. They don't have some of these dudes. I mean, PJ Tucker's a very solid defender. He's a very good defender, but he's not. He's in that first rotation. He's not coming off the bench. I think Randle's in a really good spot, and the dude just has something to prove.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, I mean, I think we covered everybody that you could definitely consider as a viable option for that game. So, I mean, we'll move on to the second game that I think is a really good game that we should target. And I mean, these are not two sexy teams. These are two teams you're like, we're going to target people from this game. But I mean, it has the second highest implied total by a mile. The next game with the highest implied total is 9 points lower. So if this game, second highest implied, we definitely got to look at it. You got the Denver Nuggets going into LA to face the Clippers. The Denver Nuggets are favored by 1 point in this game. It has a 226 implied total, so just under the Rockets and the Pelicans. Over and under for their game. And I definitely think there is some really good spots in this game that we can look at. So, I mean, if you want, you pick what side you want and kind of get it started for us, and then I'll wrap it around with the other side.
Couple of things I like about this game is it's a 7:30 game, right? So you got late plays in that, and in the last one of the last two games on it. And then I think this is like you said, it's like Denver and the Clippers. The Clippers, who are they left with, right? So, for me, Lou Williams is the obvious play on the Clippers side, but I don't like his price at $6,900 for this slate. I do think that he'll reach value in this game. Montrezl Harrell, let's see what kind of minutes he gets. The guy was a fantasy monster in spots last year. Avery Bradley is a really good defensive player. That worries me a little bit when targeting the Denver side because he's a really good defensive player. They have him listed as a shooting guard, which would match him up more with Gary Harris, who's also a really good defender. But I'm not excited to play. There's not a lot of guys other than Lou Williams. There's not a ton of dudes in that Lakers lineup that Clippers lineup that can go out there and just light it up, right? Other than Lou Williams. That's really the only dude. They have this game. Actually, what is the spread on that game? The spread is 1. Right? So Vegas sees this game as being extremely close. If this game is going to be extremely close, I can't figure out outside of Lou Williams who's going to score the basketball for these guys and have a huge night, right? I mean, Tobias Harris has shown that he can light it up from the three-point line. Patrick Beverley, not known for his score, he's known for his defense. Gallinari, very inconsistent throughout his career, but can light it up from the three-point line. I mean, Gortat, when he's in Washington, it's not a guy that you were excited to load up all the time. You wanted to load him up when he was a good value, when he was in that $5,000 to $5,500, $6,000 price range. But, I'm not excited to load up Gortat at $5,100 going against Jokic and Paul Millsap. I don't see a lot of rebounding opportunity for them. And this is a Denver team that's going to get out and run. And I don't see this this Clippers team being able to run like Denver can in this game and get up and down the floor. So this will be an interesting game. I think there's some good spots to target, but I think those are on Denver's side.
Yeah, so for me, there's a couple guys I do like on the Clippers side. I actually really like Tobias Harris. I mean, the guy, he's very consistent fantasy-wise. Danilo Gallinari, I like him. Maybe a little bit more of a GPP play just because he isn't consistent, like you said. But he has shown some upside as well. He's a fair price tag, 6,400. And then, yeah, you definitely got to like Lou Will. Doc Rivers has shown, he'll play him 35 minutes off the bench. He gets his minutes, especially if it's a close game. And the only other guy I would kind of look at is, now we see what's going on with Fanduel, and we're having to pick these cheap punt plays that, if they bust, it's okay because, we have the rest of our lineup filled out. And if they go off and one of our star guys busts, and it kind of covers it. So a guy that I do like, off of the Clippers bench is going to be Montrezl Harrell. The guy fills up the stat sheet, gets defensive stats. Through the preseason, he's shown that he can score the ball a little bit as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Clippers side of things. And then on the different side of things, to make it simple, make it easy, I pretty much like all the starters, 1 through 5. I definitely think that you can look at all of them. They're all, mid-price, not too bad. Jokic is the only one that's really up there. I don't know if I really want to spend that much for him tomorrow. There's some other guys that I maybe rather, spend up at. But yeah, Millsap 7,300, Barton 6,900. He's shown us that he can have monster games. This is going to be a very up tempo game. Gary Harris 6,500, very fair price tag. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this game.
The one thing on the Denver side that I like is that Will Barton is finally a small forward. He's listed as a small forward on FanDuel. We don't have to be in the quandary of do I play Gary Harris and Will Barton in a good spot, both at shooting guard, which one do I pick? So this year, for at least for the time being, FanDuel has Will Barton a small forward. I like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll move on to the next game. The next game, I definitely think that we have some good spots in. It's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks going into Charlotte to face the Hornets. This game has the third highest implied total on the slate. 217 points projected to be scored. Milwaukee's favored by 2, so Vegas has this game as a pretty close game. In this game, there's a lot of actually really good plays in this game. I definitely like for sure. If you want, I'll kind of get this one started. You definitely got Milwaukee slightly favored. Obviously, you can look at the guys that are their main guys. You can look at a Giannis Antetokounmpo, 12,000. It's a big price tag, though. That's a decision. Is he the guy that I do want to pay up for tomorrow? 12,000 is a big price tag, but if you can fit him in your lineup, he's obviously a dub play. You can look at a guy like Eric Bledsoe, 7,400, very fair price tag. He's a pretty consistent player. I really like him. Middleton, he's actually 7,900, a little bit more than I think I want to spend on him. So, throw him in a couple lineups if you're putting 150 in because he's going to be low owned. I like him. And then the only other guy I'm really going to look at on the Milwaukee side is going to be Malcolm Brogdon, 5,400. This guy's a baller. He's going to get, around 30 minutes. He can shoot the three-pointer. He's a backup point guard as well. So he can definitely get his minutes. And it's just a very fair price tag, a guy that I definitely think can hit some value for us. You got anything else for us on the Milwaukee side of things?
This is not a game that's really on my radar because it's kind of a blood game. I understand that they've got it as a high, the third highest implied total. It's a close game with a spread between 2 and 2.5, depending on where you look. I don't know if I want to spend up tomorrow for Giannis. I think Giannis is probably a contrarian play tomorrow with, Anthony Davis on the slate, James Harden on the slate. There's some other bigger salary guys on the slate. So if you're going to spend up in that one spot, I think Giannis is a tournament play, a little bit of a contrarian play. Batum is interesting, listed at small forward at $7,200. He's interesting to me just because he's a little bit of a mismatch if this game goes up and down. And then the other guy, Marvin Williams at $4,700. Brook Lopez does not rebound the basketball. The guy that's going to rebound the basketball in this game for Milwaukee is going to be Giannis. He's going to be the guy. So there's maybe another reason to play Giannis is maybe he has triple-double upside tomorrow in this opener because he will definitely be the guy rebounding the ball. Brook Lopez, it's well documented, right? He stands on the three-point line and looks to chuck up threes. John Henson at 4,500. It'd be interesting to see how much run he gets in this rotation. But it's a guy that's a proven power forward. He doesn't fill up the stat sheet from a scoring standpoint, but he's definitely a rebounder. He can get you a double-double. Maybe a good tournament play in this one with the high over-under. But there's not a lot of exciting plays mainly because of price. I mean, Chris Middleton at 7,900. I think I'd rather go down to some other shooting guards or maybe go all the way up to Harden at that spot. So there's some plays here. I get it. High over-under, a place to target, but there's other ways to spend up tomorrow for me.
Yeah, so I mean, on the Charlotte side of things, the only guys that I really think that I'm going to be looking at, Kemba Walker, 8,300. I mean, he's the best player we know in the past couple of years. He always plays much better at home. This is a home game for him. I think he's going to be ready. He played well in the preseason. Batum, you mentioned him, 7,200. He's a guy with triple-double upside. He does a little bit of everything on the floor. 7,200, a very fair price tag for him. The last guy that I'm going to look at on the Charlotte side of things is going to be Jeremy Lamb, 5,400, very fair price tag. Jeremy Lamb is one of those dudes, like, he's just a baller. You know what I mean? He goes out there and gets buckets. That's what he does. Whenever he gets the opportunity, he never gets the opportunity to start. Every time somebody gets hurt and he starts, he does well. They put him back on the bench. I think now he's going to finally get a chance to start. 5,400 price tag. He's going to ball out. That's good. That price tag is going to jump up quickly. So he's going to be the only other Hornet guy that I'm really going to be looking at, on that side of things. So now we'll move on to the next game that I think is a solid game. I'm going to be honest with you. Personally, I don't really care for this game. But I definitely think there's a couple of spots that we can look at. That's the Dallas Mavericks against the Phoenix Suns. It's the fourth highest implied total. Suns actually favored by 1.5. And Suns, last year they were one of the worst teams in the league. So for the fact that they're a little bit favored, I'm like, well, what's really going on in this game? But you want to get us started in this game?
I love this game. I absolutely love this game. I think this game is fireworks. I think there's so much fantasy value in this game. Let's just start with the number 1 overall pick in the draft, DeAndre Ayton. I love this dude at $7,200. Another storyline is you got DeAndre Jordan. I'm going to go to Dallas. No, wait. Put the brakes on. I'm going back to the Clippers. Now I am in Dallas. I think there is a ton. Devin Booker is playing. There hasn't been any mention of a minutes limit here that I've seen yet. I know that it's something that you're going to have to monitor and see what's going to go on tomorrow. It's unclear right now as far as what Devin Booker's total situation is. But this dude, when Kobe retired, man, this dude was my favorite player. Like, this guy became my favorite player in the NBA. He has the killer instinct. He's got the Mamba mentality, man. And maybe it's because I'm a Kobe sneaker freak and this dude's always wearing Kobe's, but this guy's game is awesome. And then,
who are you talking about?
Booker.
Oh, Booker. Oh yeah. No, Booker's baller, bro.
I just love
straight up baller.
I love this dude. And then the Suns went out and got Trevor Ariza, and Ariza, maybe I'm a Laker homer here too, but I love this dude Ariza. He plays great defense. He's a great rebounder. He gets steals. And then if he's on, look for him to get the kick out pass and knock down threes, right? So this game's going to go up and down the floor. Wesley Matthews and DeAndre Jordan. You can't forget about Dennis Smith Jr. The guy had a great season last year. He can score the basketball. Dennis Smith Jr. has had some really good games in the past against the Suns. Last year, 31.8 points. He was at $6,800. So, he's at $6,600 going into this one. I think there's a ton of good plays in this game. I think this game actually, I would take the over in this at 215. I don't think there's a lot of defense to be played here. DeAndre Jordan with double-double upside going against the rookie. I love this game. And then I guess another one worth mentioning too is Ryan Anderson, right? So, one thing about this time of year is so many guys in the NBA. I think the NBA is probably the biggest turnover league is, compared to MLB and NFL as far as guys moving team to team from season to season. so many guys in the NBA, they trade teams, and these first couple weeks of daily fantasy is not just about finding out who's in the rotation, how it's going to go. It's like learning rosters for a lot of people too. So Ryan Anderson, Trevor Ariza, no longer with Houston, they're in Phoenix. DeAndre Jordan no longer with the Clippers. The dude is in Dallas. I love this game, man. I do. I like playing. I like to have people in my lineup in the last game so I can go up the board when nobody else owns them.
Yeah, so honestly, it's probably going to be a game that there is going to be people getting exposure to. The more I'm looking at it right now, there actually is some decent spots. On the Dallas side of things, DeAndre Jordan, 7,500, very fair price tag. No, we know one thing about DeAndre Jordan, that's he's going to get rebounds, he's going to get blocks. And he'll get you a couple points. So I think he, for the most part, as long as he gets his minutes, he's going to give you a solid floor. You can look at the rookie Doncic. A lot of people are excited about this guy. To be honest, I've yet to see him play. Tomorrow I'm going to watch this game, and it's going to be the first time. And I'm excited to check him out. And then the last guy I'm going to talk about on the Dallas side of things, you mentioned him a little bit, Dennis Smith Jr. The guy's just electrifying. The guy's a baller, 6,600, very fair price tag. I definitely think that he's gonna get you hit value, maybe get you 6 or 7 times value. This is going to be an up and down, back and forth game. And like you said, there's not going to be very much defense to be played. On the Phoenix side of things, I think I'm probably only going to be looking at 2 guys. Devin Booker, obviously, he's the best player in this game. Unlimited shots. He can take as many damn shots as he wants. Plays a ton of minutes. He's the man on the Phoenix side of things. And then you got the rookie Ayton. The guy in preseason, he played very, very well. The only thing about him that I'm kind of like about is he's going head to head against DeAndre Jordan. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that is scaring me a little bit. But I mean, the guy showed some preseason. He's a baller, and he could definitely step up to the challenge and man up. And I think that he's a good play as well. And that's all I'm really going to go. I mean, you got 2 really good guys on the bench, and Josh Jackson. And
I was just going to say that.
But the crazy thing is Trevor Ariza has always been one of those guys who plays 33, 34 minutes. And he plays the same position that Josh Jackson and TJ Warren play. So it's like, how are they really going to do this rotation? That's kind of where I'm at. From what I was looking at, they're saying that Josh Jackson will be the backup power forward, but the guy's too small to really be a backup power forward. So for those 2 guys, for me, it's probably a wait-and-see approach. I'm just going to really kind of stick to Booker and Ayton on the Suns side of things.
I think Josh Jackson's a mismatch. 6'8", right? Power forward. He can play power forward. I think he can play power forward at 6'8". Dude's long, jump out the building, decent rebounder. Tyson Chandler is interesting too. Like, he's still on this team, right? And then you look at their roster, and like they don't have really any other centers on that roster, right? They got Tyson Chandler and DeAndre Ayton. So to me, I think this team runs, and I think you see Isaiah Cannon and Devin Booker both run the point guard position. I think you could look at the rotation and think maybe that Isaiah Cannon plays 4-5 minutes. Devin Booker plays 8 minutes in a first quarter situation where Booker is 3.5, 4 minutes running the point guard position to, like you said, take as many damn shots as he wants.
Right. So, we'll move on to the last game, and we'll get up out of here. So the last game that I think is a really solid game that you want to target is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Toronto Raptors. One thing about this game, though, that kind of scares me, and I'm actually, if you don't mind, Jeremy, after this game, I want to go down one more to this Hawks in the New York Knicks game as well. I think that's a really good game. I think we should target. Right here, Vegas has this Toronto and Cavs game as the 5th highest implied total. But the more I look at this game, I just don't know, bro, because I mean they have it as the 5th highest implied total, But I mean, it's a 12 spread, and I could easily see this game getting blown out. You know what I mean? And you got the Cavs who are depleted. You know, who do they have? Kevin Love, he's not going to be the savior for that team. Going against the Toronto team that now has Kawhi Leonard, instead of DeRozan. DeRozan's on the Spurs. I mean, for me, actually, to tell you the truth, the more I'm looking at it, I don't really care for this game so much, actually. I mean, you can look at a Kawhi Leonard and a Kyle Lowry if you think they're going to get their minutes. Possibly a Kevin Love. A lot of people are saying that now Kevin Love is going to go back to the Kevin Love of the Timberwolves a couple years ago, where he was averaging like 25 and 13. But I mean, what do you think about this game?
Two guys from the Cleveland side that I'll definitely look at. Cedi Osman starting. The guy has been a decent player in that organization, even with LeBron James. The injuries and stuff they went through last year. Cedi Osman was a really good play on more than one slate. Now starting. So the other guy is Jordan Clarkson. Coming off the bench, and then with the spread being 12, I think this dude could have a really good night. If the game gets away, I could see Clarkson playing big minutes. $5,000 price tag at that shooting guard position. I'll definitely look to get some exposure to Clarkson tomorrow, just because the game has such a high implied total and such a huge spread. If you're going to target a bench player, I think Clarkson's a guy that you could target in this one at 5,000. Interesting on the other side of it for Toronto, I'm not going to spend up on Kawhi Leonard. I'm not going to spend up on Kyle Lowry. Valanciunas is too expensive, I think, in this one at 6,200. Even Ibaka, I don't know what kind of run he'll get. You could take a look at a Danny Green or a Siakam. Other than that, I'm not excited about this game either. I'm much more excited about Atlanta, New York, and even Brooklyn and Detroit.
Right. So, hey, let's move on to that game then. We'll kind of touch on that game real quick. So let me really quick. So we're looking at So I'll start it off real quick. Obviously, on the Atlanta side of things, you got to look at your boy Trae Young. He was looking good in the preseason, bro, and they're pretty much giving him the same rings that Devin Booker is getting for the Suns. Shoot as much as you want. We're going to let you shoot from the half court. We're not going to say nothing to you. He has massive upside going against a Knicks team who's not very good. I mean, 6,100, that's a dirt cheap price for him. I mean, I honestly think he's underpriced. What do you think, honestly, about him real quick before we get into some more people in this game?
Look, when Alex Len is your center, you're in trouble. And then you sign Jeremy Lin, right? So, I don't know where the talent on this team is. You can look at Trae Young and say that maybe it's like a Devin Booker situation. Just go out there and run with the basketball, shoot it when you want to, throw it around. They got guys that can run the floor with him. Vince Carter is in their confirmed starting lineup. I mean, I know the dude can still jump out of the building. I saw the video on SportsCenter the other night where he's talking about he can still jump, but Vince Carter is not going to go out there and night in and night out and score you a bunch of points. Maybe in the season opener because, maybe he's got fresh legs right now, but this Atlanta team doesn't have a lot going on. Trae Young at $6,100 is probably, like you said, maybe a little bit cheap. I'm on the Knicks side of it, though. I think Trey Burke at $4,900 is extremely cheap for a starting point guard. If this was
he showed us last year. He can absolutely fill up the stat sheet for sure.
So think about it like this: if this game is in December, January, February, and let's say that Emmanuel Mudiay was the starter, and you were going to get Trey Burke at 4,000, who was coming off the bench, or 4,900, and a starter's role, you jump all over that as a value play, right? I mean, be a no-brainer. So Tim Hardaway Jr., another guy who's really shown that he can play. I think he's relevant tomorrow. But the guy I like a lot is Trey Burke, and then on top of that, I think you can pair him up with Enes Kanter. Like I said, Alex Len is your starting center. Enes Kanter is a double-double machine. I I think Enes Kanter's a solid play at 7,000. Maybe a little bit expensive for tomorrow's slate. There's some other guys, like I mentioned before with DeAndre Ayton, DeAndre Jordan. Those are two guys in good spots as well at the center position. But Trey Burke, for me, I like this guy a lot in this spot tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a very, very good play, especially if he's, already confirmed that he's going to be in that starting lineup. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not really going to be looking at these other games. I mean, the other games on the slate, you got Brooklyn going into Detroit to face the Pistons.
I do
Detroit,
like that game, though. I will tell you that I do like that game, that Brooklyn Detroit game. I think that game's going to have more. I think it goes over 212, and I think it's an up and down game like it was in the preseason. I believe they had a preseason overtime game. It was like 108, 108.
right?
Nobody likes preseason basketball. I get it, but when you're playing fantasy
Yeah.
preseason NBA, maybe you have a problem, but we did. I think that game goes over. I think it goes up and down the floor. There's some things that are crazy coming out of Detroit. Like they want to shoot, they want to play like Houston, but I don't think they have the players to play like Houston. They got with Blake Griffin and Drummond and those pieces. But I think this game is going to go up and down the floor, and I think there's some good plays in that game.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not going to get into that game. Just a couple guys that definitely think you should look at: Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond. Just like you said, the Nets have struggled against big men for the past couple of years. They really don't have nobody to guard those guys. Yeah, and then so the next games we got, just real quick, we'll just mention the games. You got the Heat going into Orlando to face the Magics. The Heat are favored by 2.5 in this game. You got Minnesota going into the Spurs to San Antonio to face the Spurs. This game has a 210.5 implied total. San Antonio's favored by 3. You got Memphis Grizzlies going into Indiana to face the Pacers. Indiana is favored by 6.5. You got a 207 implied total in this game. And lastly, you got Utah Jazz going into Sacramento to face the Kings. Utah's favored by 8. And this game has a 207 implied total, the lowest on the slate. So, I mean, that's all I really got for this slate, bro. You got anything else? Tomorrow we'll be back with the video a little bit closer to lock. We'll kind of narrow down some things after we get some confirmation of some more lineups, etc. If you haven't already, go check out our website at www.dfscheatsheet.com. We got everything that you need. Like I said, a complete optimizer, tons of content, a lot more videos such as these ones. We have everything that you need, so go check it out. And you got anything else for us, bro? Or are we out?
Hey, man, if you want to play the plays that we're playing on any given slate, right now, go to the website, sign up for a premium membership for free for 7 days. See if we bring you value. You get access to the optimizer. You get access to all the content. You'll get access to our player pool, value plays, optimizer, etc. It costs you nothing. It's free for 7 days. So I would definitely take advantage of that. If you want to play the plays that we are playing tomorrow, we will provide them in our player pool. Sign up for free.
All right, man. Hey, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And hey, let's get this money. All right. Peace out.